Welcome, Dr. Ikechi. Thank you very much for joining us. And my name is Lenny Rukundo. I'm the Director of Communications at International Business Conference for Business Models. And here we'll be talking about where we fit in the agricultural sector as a conference, and you as an individual, where you see the conference fitting in and how we can be able to engage with people on a different level in regards to agriculture in the coming conference. So, Dr. Ikechi, tell us more about yourself and what are your roles within the agricultural sector?
Yeah, thank you very much, Lenny. Yeah, my name is Dr. Ikechi, and I'm an agroeconomist and an agribusiness management and food security expert by training, and I'm also a university professor. And I work a lot with international volunteer networking organizations across the world, not just in Africa. And one of them is the Africa Organization of Technology in Agriculture. That's where we are working assiduously with the team, with the president, Isaac, and Dr. Nimrod, Gizel, and even yourself, and many of us. We have planned the international conference on business models in agriculture. Yeah, so I am also working a lot with some youths across Africa, like the Agri-N initiative in the Zambia, like the Africa Agriculture Agenda as well in Nigeria, like the Agro-Tunnel and M Advisory in Kenya, and the State of the African Diaspora. I'm a roving ambassador, and yes, I'm also a certified, ambassador with Skywater in the US, and I'm also an active advocate member of the European Technology Chamber, and it's a platform or network that participates in different work streams. Yeah, so I participate in different work streams here as an expert and speaker. And recently, I was nominated as board member of the Food Farming and Fisheries Alliance Committee by the EU Tech, by the EU Tech, and that we focus on possible and easy solutions on how to deploy business ideas between Europe and Africa. Yeah, so and yes, I have featured as speaker in a lot of events, and one of the events that I featured in, I told them that the moves to industrialize the agriculture sector must be valid. It must be vastly encouraged, specifically in the era of in this advent of technology and the fourth industrial revolution. So I'm connected to Relevance State University in Nigeria. It's a frontline state university, and I'm also connected to Kavala International University of America and the Rome Business School. And I am also connected to University of Fort Hare in South Africa. I'm an examiner for the Development Studies Department, and I have examined about 3 PhD students. And yes, and I am also the scientific committee chairman for the International Conference on Business Models in Agriculture, which we are discussing. Thank you, Len.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ikechi. That's quite an impressive portfolio of things that you do. And yeah, we have a lot to see from you. Now, where do you see agriculture looking at the subsectors in the next 5 years, considering where Africa is? where she is and where she is heading, looking at the climate issues, smallholder farmer maximizing on fragmented land at their disposal. So, just looking at Africa in general, we have our current issues that, people don't see the small land as something they can use to make money out of. Where do you see us in the next 5 years in context of that question?
Well, thank you for that question. That question is very important. And can I say that, where agriculture is today in Africa is very encouraging. But I will say that there is room, there is room for improvement. And I see in the future that agriculture will definitely use sophisticated technologies. And of course, yes, in this, we are in the advent of technology, like I said earlier, and the fourth industrial revolution or 4R. 4IR is an area that's cyberspace systems, and you will agree to the fact that the components of the cyber system, it's encapsulates agricultural drones. It encapsulates artificial intelligence, AI. It encapsulates Internet of Things and blockchain technology. And most of these solutions must be used in the space of agriculture. So I see a lot of it unlocking within the space of the agriculture sector in developing countries like Africa. And I am also seeing vertical farm initiative because as urbanization and development, like most of the countries are experiencing economic transformation, and I'm seeing it even now in the face of the free trade area agreements of the African Union. It's also opening up the market for African nations to trade, favorably with each other and not just with other countries outside of Africa. So I'm seeing these sophisticated technologies also, such as robotics, temperature and moisture sensors, real images, and global positioning system. That is GPS technology. Yeah, will be used in agriculture. And these advanced devices and precision agriculture and robotic systems will, to a large extent, allow farms and even the smallholder farmers to be more profitable, efficient, safe, and environmentally friendly. I did not. Let me also say that the small. I'm also seeing smallholder farmers scaling up. Yes, I'm seeing a lot of, and the percentage will move from 60 to 70% of smallholder farmers in the whole of Africa moving, reducing, so that we will start having, people, farmers that that have moved up, with respect to their scale or their scope,
Yeah.
And I'm also seeing a lot of cooperatives, people coming to work together to cooperate, and also the trust issues with respect to corporations lessening, because there's a lot of problems with farmers. Trust issues is a major problem. People are very skeptical about getting into some associations, relationships, or some sort of arrangement, and enhancing environmental quality also, and the natural resource base upon which the agriculture economy depends, will definitely see in the next 5 years. I'm also seeing there is need to make most efficient use of non-renewable resources, because now we are talking about clean energy solutions, and it's like Africa has power problems a lot. I foresee that in that time there will be a wider use of more clean energy solutions, and I'm also foreseeing a time when the government of Africa will become very much interested in agriculture, and that they'll begin to, farmers will start, ensuring, more protected farming systems, and like yes, and also, this issue of war crisis will be lessened, and yeah, so
Yes.
the on-farm resources and integration were appropriate. Yeah, so
Good.
finally to definitely sustain the economic viability of farm operations at that time. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Now, you mentioned government interest in agriculture. I just wanted to find out. We have seen it's not. I'm just digressing a bit here on this one because quite an interesting question here. We point that you brought up. Brazil, South America, has refined agriculture to a point whereby they're well known for it. What lessons can we learn from them? Because the cost of production there versus the cost of production on our side in Africa, there's something that doesn't balance up because we import stuff from there to bring into Africa. Yet we have this more or less the same tropical climates. What are we doing wrong? Sorry to say, to kind of digress from the question, but you brought up an issue which is quite intriguing.
Anyway, what I can say about that is that yeah, I think it's like you have mentioned about the government.
Yes.
It's the government, if they can prioritize, agriculture, then that means there will be, the door will be, will be open, and of course that will drive, a lot of change. That will bring in, you know, transformation to a large extent, and yeah, so that's just what I can say about that.
Okay. So the next question I have is, in what areas would you want to see innovative transformation, and who are the principal drivers for the needed transformative changes in the food systems of developing nations such as Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the rest? So who would be the key stakeholders in this whole process of transformation?
Okay. Transformation, I think I should answer it this. I should say that when you're talking about innovative transformation, technology must be part of it. And we are in the era of digitization and digital transformation, projects and all of that, because those are it helps to drive sustainability, it helps to drive efficiency, it helps to drive improvement and development. So even in the face of competition, because competition is very important, is what we see in the marketplace, is what we see in an economy. So the key drivers, or the principal drivers needed for transformation, it's everyone, all of us, we must be involved. Most times they say that the executives say the digital transformation are driven by competitive pressure. Yes, that is true, but it's not even up to 50%. Assurance in that, but it's difficult, if not possible, to compete with businesses that are enhancing their services with technology. Yeah, so permit me to mention that there are about 4 steps in the transformation journey. Okay. And the 4 steps will even help us to understand also who this, where this issue of transformation stops. The first step can identify the right stakeholders. The second can be to commit to all-in strategy planning, which is important. And then the third is creating a strict timeline. And then the fourth one is taking responsibility for data security. And some schools of thought have also mentioned about the need for artificial intelligence. Yes, because it's like the need for to add up to that. So we know that the government, the NGOs, the investors, the diaspora groups within this, the Africa, and then the layman, we are all parts of the journey. So we must have to ensure this in when we are factoring, policies for that will be transformation. Thank you.
Okay. So let me understand you well. You said, because I think I missed up something, and I would like our listeners to be able to understand what you said, the steps of transformation. So the identifying the key stakeholders, and then number two was.
Oh, the second point, I was talking about, ensuring success in digital transformation. The second one is committing to all-in strategic planning.
Okay. And then the third one was respecting the
third one is
the timelines.
Yes, creating a strict timeline.
And the fourth one was taking responsibility and accountability.
Taking responsibility for securing data, exactly.
That's good.
Because Africa has always had issues with data, data and
yes,
lack of data.
Okay, thank you very much once again. And you spoke about the 4IR, which kind of segues to the next question. Do you feel that Africa is due for food systems transformation? Looking at where we are, where we're going, and what we can be able to do as a continent.
Yes, for sure. Africa is due for food systems transformation. And just permit me to ask, to say, does Africa actually produce enough food to feed itself?
Mm-hmm.
And that will take us to trying to say that Africa can actually produce enough food for its own population, and it's already estimated that about more than double of 2.5 billion persons in 30 years, and dramatically reducing its more than 35 billion US dollars imports for food bill. Yeah, but at the moment, they have also, we have also seen heavy relying on food importation, which is, threatening the continent's food security. We have also seen it even in the Russia-Ukraine crisis, in the pandemic, and the food, some areas, the climate change issues. There was a time when I got a call from, a government official in Kenya that, there's so much lack of food that how do we, how can I connect them to, exporters of food, from other African countries. And we had to contact Zambia, had to contact, because they believe so much in Nigeria. And I smiled and I said, are you really sure that Nigeria is, because of course the giant of Africa is a typical model of an African country. Yeah, so what is transformation of food system, first of all? I can actually say that, the critical domains that are identified that must be addressed for a successful transforming, focus or transformation process for systems. Talking about reinventing agriculture is very important. Reinventing agriculture. And we need to, I had, proposed about brain re-engineering of what agriculture stands to offer. And trying to change the perception problem for the youngsters and youths about agriculture, and to tell them that agriculture is not for the less privilege. Agriculture is not for people who are looked down upon on society. Agriculture is for everyone. Oh, yes. For example, when I was in the UK in 2019, I visited a couple, and they were, in their, they had worked and retired. So their children, they've launched all their children out, so, and and they served me a meal, and it happened that what they served me was what came out from their farm, and I was shocked. Now, the second point of successful transformation of food system is transforming food environments for healthy diets, and then thirdly, talking about mitigating climate change. We have talked about it, and we have seen it also in the COP27. That conference, everything about that conference was, focused on climate change. Yeah, and the fourth point, is, productively engaging the private sector. I had mentioned that, and then influencing public policy priorities, and then also establishing through initiatives, which, of course, we cannot, talk down on that. And now we have the African Continental Free Trade Area, and of course, that is not just an opportunity for economic growth and development, but that is actually a necessity for Africa to ensure food security and resilience of the continent. So finally, diversity in diets can help farmers diversify their risk and also provide markets for food crops, breaking their their dependency on commodity crops, and increase biodiversity and resilience.
Yes.
While hundreds of millions are undernourished, over 600 million persons suffer from obesity.
Yes.
Yes, I'm telling you. And further, runs into billions in overweight. So, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate
Welcome.
it. You're imparting knowledge on us, and at least it's a clarification on what's out there, especially for the youth, because the youth kind of, as you say, kind of see it as it can't be a business model where they can make money. They look at it's for
Absolutely.
retired people and all that kind of thing, and we need to shift that and be able to see how we can grow it and entice the youth to say, let me take this as an opportunity to see where I can grow myself as a business and grow a nation, feeding a nation, of which I don't think most people, everybody looks at IT as the way to go, or being a doctor, or all that kind of stuff. But we need now to be able to go to the schools and say, listen, guys, agriculture, you can make money. You need to come into this industry, because without the food, the rest don't exist. So I believe we need to be able to sensitize the youth as they graduate, as they go into university, when they're visiting, what do you call them, the career days and all that kind of stuff. And we get people who are successful, who are young, into these platforms. Somebody says, hey, listen, I grow tomatoes, I grow lettuce, I grow herbs. I am in the animal husbandry kind of industry, and we get them to showcase that, to show the kids that there is something in agriculture that you can pursue that doesn't really require you to just be a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant or that kind of thing. So we are giving them more options in life in regards to where they can be able to go to. And I really like that. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So now can you tell us about technology in agriculture and how it can enhance farmers' productivity and drive efficiency in the supply chain of agri-food networks? Let's start with that part first, because the second part is, what are the best technologies available to increase yield per hectare? Those are two-part question. So we can start with the question of what is there to enhance farmers' productivity and drive. Yes.
Yeah, just permit me to say that they are all working in the same direction, because technology in agriculture, like I normally tell my students. Even yesterday, I was in a session with my master students, and I was telling them that technology is the game changing solution, is a game changer, and it's changing the game, and it's refocusing, and also re-engineering and re-impacting. Very, very important. I'm telling you, technology has come in to change the face of agriculture. It's a rebrander. It has come to rebrand agriculture again.
Yeah.
And today's agriculture routinely uses sophisticated technologies such as robots, temperature and moisture sensors, and area images and GPS technology, as I mentioned before. And these advanced devices and precision agriculture robotic systems, allow businesses to be more profitable and efficient and even safer and more environmentally friendly. So technology in agriculture is very important. It's every aspect of technology being applied to the concerns of agriculture, because we know that many farmers are having challenges with their crops doing well, their soils. How does their soil how does it regenerate? How can it regenerate? And that takes us to integrated farming systems, where we are now talking about having planting at the same time also rearing some sort of livestock or fishery, and then having a picture was painted to us the other day, and we saw that picture is quite shows us a clear picture of how an integrated farming system can actually drive transformation. So advances in machinery and in that type of system will definitely enhance and expand also the scale, the speed and productivity of farm equipment. So leading to more efficient cultivation of more land, seed, irrigation and fertilizers. Also, they have they will vastly improve and help farmers to increase yields. So those are, what technology can do. And also nowadays, technology is significantly helping farmers, in several ways, even in precise forecasting, data-driven decision making, and more. So, and so we can even delve into more. We can go more specific in the ways in which technology can revolutionize agriculture. And I had even mentioned that earlier. We have talked about smart farming, mobile devices, sensors, and GPS. So some major technologies that are most commonly being utilized by farms include harvest automation, autonomous tractors, seeding and weeding, and drones. Yeah, as I mentioned also earlier. So so of course it will definitely increase efficiency and food production. Technology has allowed for a more streamlined and efficient production process, from planting and harvesting to manufacturing and packaging, and also changing in food consumption habits. And technology has helped to create more, has come to strengthen the food value chains, and also because of course technology, um, you know, uh, for example, cassava, crop, technology comes in to strengthen the uh, the the uh, the value chain.
Yes.
Yeah, because there are derivatives from. I'm just using cassava as an example.
Yes.
There are many other examples that I can use, because that is what is actually, that is an enabler. It can enable farmers or producers, or the those who are involved in value adding processes to make their ends meet and to drive their livelihood. So that has played a major role in changing people's food consumption habits, and definitely it will bring about the hectare basis question that you mentioned.
Thank you very much. I have a few more questions to go, right? And as we proceed, we'll be looking at how it all interrelates with the International Conference for Business Models and in Agriculture, right? So the next question I have is, can you elucidate on the relevance, benefits, and importance of business models for smallholder farmers in society as a whole?
Okay, thank you for that question. I'm sure this this question should be for developing countries like Africa, those in
Yes.
Central America as well, and for some of the Asian countries where they have their farmers as smallholder farmers, majorly smallholder farmers. Yeah. Yeah, but in the other places, most of their farmers are large scale and they are very good at what they are doing and they are, really breaking even. Yeah, so permit me to talk about business model, sorry. Yeah, because I am also, a lecturer and I have built up capacity in this line for some years now. And I've always told my students that business model, refers to a plan, a strategy, which, for making profits, that is just that. So, and since smallholder farmers have not really secured, even when you look at the marketplace, like I was telling them yesterday about structure of a market. Structure of a market can be, described as the characteristics of a market in relation to some variables like number of buyers and sellers, homogeneity or heterogeneity of goods, and then the degree of entry or extent of entry or exit of the practitioners in a market. So when you look at, for example, if you look at the automobile industry, the automobile industry is a very good example of, that their market tends towards oligopoly. What do I mean by oligopoly? Oligopoly is, a market structure, that paints a good, a picture of few persons who are actually in the market, who are controlling the market. Few persons, yeah. And you can also see it sometimes in the agriculture sector, because there are two sides of the coin when you want to describe market structure. Market structure, you can talk about it from perfect perfect market or imperfect market. So within the imperfect and perfect space, you will now get maybe monopolistic competition or get oligopoly. And then at the extremes, you get perfect competition, and the other extreme, you get monopoly. And so let me not digress much. So, a business model identifies the products or services, yeah, that that the business plans to sell. It's identified target market, and of course, the anticipated expenses. Yeah, so business models, for smallholder farmers must, is of course very important, of great essence for both new and established businesses. So, and various types of business models like, small farmers to agricultural value chains. And of course, this can factor in the traders, the farmer organizations, then the agri-food processors, the retailers, the sometimes even the commission men as well, and also those contract farming arrangements with large buyers. And so business models, yeah,
Okay,
business models in agriculture must.
good. Thank you very much. Now, that kind of segues through to the next question, and
Okay.
the question is there any relationship between business models in agriculture and tackling of developmental challenges such as global warming, good health, livelihood, poverty, standard of education, and hunger? If so, what would that be? What would that mean, and how can the message be passed over in order to be able to address those issues?
Definitely, business models can, is related to all of these points, the global warming, the good health, livelihoods, poverty, standard of living or standard of education, and, and, and hunger. Like I said before, that business model in agriculture impacts on society in many ways. Yeah, it impacts on what? It helps to support livelihoods through food, habitat, and jobs. It helps to provide raw materials for industry, and of course industry produces food and other products, and also helps in building strong economies through trade. So rural and urban societies and economies, they are like their benefits, yeah, from prosperous and productive small farms. So this creates jobs and wealth for their communities,
Yes.
reduces pressure on young people to mitigate and also contribute to more stable and peaceful societies. So all of these points which you mentioned aligned with sustainable development goals agenda, and you can even mention in the 17 sustainable development goals and see how the business models, because you have to smallholder farmers, they have to be they have to be intentional
That's very
with
true.
respect to their business models. They have to tell themselves the truth. How best can you minimize costs and maximize profits, maximize output, maximize, to ensure customer loyalty, customer, because it calls for, trying to paint factoring in some marketing theories or marketing principles, like trying to, are you trying to segment the market or to target? Who are your markets that you are targeting? So we need to tell us. So, and that even brings us to carrying out some need assessment, and then to start entering into the market, and then to also, start making your profit after you have positioned yourself as market. So sustainable agriculture and business model goes hand in hand.
Yes.
And of course, it interacts in many ways and borders on environmental stewardship and the social responsibility. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So
very good.
those are all connected.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think with the second question, the next question I wanted to ask was the pros and cons, which you've highlighted on while answering the previous question. However, on the next question, there's an expression that came up at COP27 over and over and over. The question was climate smart agriculture. Can you help us understand this? Because for the layman, it's a bit of a heavy expression. What does it do? What's the impact it has on agriculture sector in the developing countries, especially in Africa? And how can we be able to capitalize on this if we'll be able to grow the agricultural sector in order to have farmers growing and bearing the fruits of the business sector. People grow food, but they don't see the money. They don't see the tangible profits. So this statement came up: climate smart agriculture. How can we be able to educate people with regards to this, and what is it, so that people can be able to understand it? Because our agriculture, our weather, our climate in Africa has been kind of rampant in the way it plays out. seasons have been interrupted and the like. I'll leave it up to you to explain to us more about that.
Okay, thank you very much. The easiest way for us to understand, climate change and, variability and also climate issues and, we must have to understand that the two major climate change variables are temperature and rainfall.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we are now, the COP27 was, I have some of my people that went for that, that meeting in Egypt. And I understand that, many youths were also, allowed to come for that meeting, and many youths were paid. Like one of my students was, he received some funding to go, and that is also like an incentive to motivate our youths to start to understand that they are loved, and that they are loved if they come back to agriculture. And can I say that climate smart agriculture, which is CSA, and it has already been defined by the Food and Agriculture Organization. And they had to tweak it in such a way that it's you can understand it clearly when you itemize them in three pillars. And the first one talks about sustaining, or rather sustainably increasing productivity and also incomes, and then adapting and building resilience to climate change, because it's very paramount. Yes, and then also reducing or removing greenhouse gas emissions where possible. So these are some of the climate change, climate smart agriculture, focuses. Where it focuses on. And of course, agriculture and fisheries are highly dependent on the climate. We must understand that also fisheries is, part of the agriculture sector, and livestock, forestry, even the crops. And of course, it increases temperature and carbon dioxide, which can increase some crop yields in some places. Yeah, but climate smart agriculture is outcome focused. Yeah, and it touches on practices, technologies, approaches, solutions, which are deployed if they can help to deliver on at least 2 or 3 outcomes. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you once again. Now, moving on, we need to look at how does the relationship between actualizing the SDGs and the focus of the International Conference of Business Models in Agriculture, how do we unlock that relationship between the two, the conference and the SDGs? How are they intertwined, and where are we going with this?
Yeah, we have to maybe go specific. Like, we have 17 SDGs. The first one touches on poverty, and the second one is on hunger. And we can see that SDG 1, SDG 2, they are all close to each other. And when you talk about International Conference on Business Models in Agriculture, agriculture, it's also a game changer and is a veritable strategy that that can contribute significantly to the GDP of a nation. And if the GDP of that nation can actually trickle down to the economic concerns, to standard of living, to infrastructure, to health sector, to of course infrastructure touches on good road network, creating of jobs, and even earning foreign exchange, and helping economies to engage engage more in international trade. Yes, that can actually be one of ways of attacking poverty. And then, of course, we know food is from the agriculture sector. It will definitely lead to zero hunger. Then going to good health and well-being, that good nutrition helps to um, you know, bring about
Yes.
good health and well-being. And then you can go on and on and on,
Yes.
even life below water, which is SDG 14, even the climate action, which is SDG 13, and even life on land, which is SDG 15. And then you now talk about decent work and economic growth, even which is SDG 8. And then for SDG 7, talking about affordable and clean water. And this is what we have also championed at in the just concluded Re-Energy Summit that we had on clean energy solutions. I was the one who managed some 5 panelists across the world from Singapore, Malaysia, Kenya, even Rwanda. And so we were discussing on how to ensure for more creating awareness for more clean energy solution. And then SDG 6 is even clean water and sanitation. Yeah, so so all of these are all very, very important. So the SDG goals, aims at transforming our world. They are a call to action to end poverty and inequality. They are also, a call to, to protect the planet and ensure that all people enjoy good health, justice, and prosperity. So, and it helps to provide worldwide guidance for addressing the global challenges facing the international community. So, I can tell you that this conference will definitely, to a large extent, um, ensure that the SDG development goals are actualized. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. So, as we move on swiftly, I have more questions, because now it gets the interesting bit whereby we need to tie the International Conference of Business Models in Agriculture to what's happening and where we see ourselves moving forward. So the next question I have for you is, from all indications and from a global perspective, are you foreseeing the International Conference on Business Models in Agriculture meeting the impact that's required within the agricultural sector? What do you forecast? Share your thoughts. Let's, let people know where we are, where we're going, and I'll add on to who should attend, why they should attend, and where is the meeting slated to hold.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, the IBMA, which is, you have mentioned about the conference in Kigali, which will be taking place in the Kigali, Convention Center. And the focus of the conference is to reorganize the agriculture sector. And of course, we are blessed by the African Union, that has set the pace. They have set a pace for in line with the free trade area that is of course geared towards promoting intra-Africa trade, and not just that, also to create a very good synergy between the African countries and working together and even trading successfully and actualizing development and not just economic growth. And of course, the conference is geared towards moving or rather translating from the import to export-oriented agro sector. We have always been importing. Why should we be importing agricultural products? So it's really an aberration. It's the height of aberration. Yes, that countries where, okay, let me just tell you this, that there was a time when I call them Asian tigers, they came into Africa and borrowed oil palm seedlings. And that wasn't just what they borrowed. They borrowed virtually every crop that grows in Africa. And they went back and they became more serious. And during my visit to Malaysia, I saw it with my very eyes. It was a first-hand experience that I had. And on my journey to from Malaysia to Singapore, because I went by road, it's they have a border, and I was seeing oil palm trees. Prior to my visit, I didn't even understand what that was, but it opened my eyes. And now the same oil palm that they came to borrow, we are, it used to be our glory. And at some point, they were the ones who were, moving, their economy grew from that oil palm. Yeah, and that is from agriculture to agro-industry. So that is the focus of the conference. We are moving from practicing, from cultivation to what? Markets. And that's where we are now, creating of more food value chains. And that's how the business model must be, we must structure it out. And we've invited a lot of speakers. It's a very good forum. It's a very good forum, and is dedicated to presenting and discussing innovative business models that will enable, agriculture sector economic prosperity for smallholders. And we have also, we are targeting, yes, smallholder farmers.
Okay.
And it's very important that, disruptive innovation can create jobs. We must know this and jumpstart, national economies,
Yes.
and not just that. So, so the participants, we encourage business people who have taken agriculture as a business. We are also welcoming those in the academics and the research domains, even the National Agricultural Marketing Council. We're working with them. We are working with lots of universities like the Rivers State University, and we are working with Makerere University. We are working with University of Pretoria. We are working with Stellenbosch University. We are working with University of KwaZulu-Natal. We are working with, mention it, even because Nelson Mandela University, that's Nelson Mandela, used to be Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. They now have an agriculture faculty, and we are also working with them. We are working with University of Fort Hare. Mention it, all agriculture programs, we are working with them, and we are working with Agricultural Research Council in South Africa. We are working with even University of Ghana. We are working with University of Nigeria and Nsukka. We are working with Imo State University. We are working with some agriculture persons in the Europe, and then we are now open up. We are now very much open to India, and even in the US.
Yeah.
We have the scientific committee, and of course they will present a lot of papers, and we are working with, I didn't even mention University of Rwanda. University of Rwanda, we are working assiduously with them, and Rwanda Ministry of Agriculture, and the Israeli Embassy in Rwanda, and the Rwanda Convention Bureau as well. And of course, we have Kigali Convention Center is a for such events. So March 27th to 29th in 2023, the AOTA, the Africa Organization of Technology in Agriculture,